Hello and welcome back. Because at the time of this filming it's only a few days until Easter and there's still lots to be done, I'm going to keep this episode short and sweet. So I'll be boiling this bowl of water. Just kidding, I'm going to use this bowl of lukewarm water to help release the coconut panna cottas that I'll be making. That's right, despite my irrational fear of dessert making, I'm actually going to try to make coconut panna cotta. For the first time. On camera. Just the thought of it terrifies me, but it should hopefully be dead simple. And it starts with coconut milk. One 400 ml can of good quality, full fat coconut milk. Then there's heavy cream. Just a splash, 30 mils or an eighth of a cup. Of course, there's got to be sugar, 2 tablespoons. And 1 packet of powdered gelatin, as well as a few tablespoons room temperature water to bloom it in. For additional flavor, I'll be adding this lime, specifically the zest, and the tiniest splash of juice. And I mean the tiniest splash. That's only about a teaspoon there. So the first thing I need to do is bloom the gelatin powder into tepid water. I might have a touch too much water in the bowl. Hopefully it'll be okay. I'll mix that together and then just let it sit for about 5 minutes. Once the gelatin's bloomed, it's over to the stove for a little bit of cooking. I pour the coconut milk into a small pot and put it on medium heat. Then add the sugar, then the cream, then the bloomed gelatin, and I give the mixture a thorough whisk to combine. I want to bring it up to the barest simmer. Something like this. I'll let this go for 3 or 4 minutes. Now that the mixer's ready, I could, if I wanted to be extra careful, pour it through a strainer to remove any possible lumps. I'm not really concerned about that though, so instead I'm just going to go ahead and add the lime zest. And the lime juice to finish it off. I will, however, take the step of transferring this to my biggest measuring cup, just to make pouring it out a little easier. These are my ramekins. The blue heart one is for my wife. I wish I had a Minnie Mouse one for my daughter, but that'll have to wait for another day. I'll try to fill them as evenly as possible, then after that I'll cover them with a little plastic wrap and pop them into the fridge. They need to be refrigerated for at least 4 or 5 hours before serving. Tomorrow's an office day for me, so I actually won't get back to these for closer to 24 hours. I'll see you tomorrow. And here are my panna cottas, ready to be eaten. You may notice that there's only 2 remaining out of the 4 I put in the fridge. Apparently my wife and daughter snuck a taste while I was out of the house. I'll let you know what they thought in a moment. First, I want to get a closer look at them. They look alright. Better than alright, at least at first glance. I am a little worried, though, that they don't seem to have the same kind of wiggle you'd expect from panna cotta. And I don't see any trace of the lime zest, which makes me think they might have all sunk to the bottom. The only way to know for certain is to cut them out and remove them. So I take a sharp knife and run it around the edges of each container. I'm trying to be careful and make clean cuts as close to the ramekins as possible. Then it's a 30-second dunk in a bowl of warm water to loosen them further. Now comes the moment of truth. I put a plate over the ramekin and flip everything over. I give it a shake, hold my breath, and wait for the gentle plop to let me know that the panna cotta is released. And here it is. As I suspected, the lime zest pooled at the bottom, which is now the top. Not only that, but they all seem to have collected in the same general spot, instead of spreading evenly across the ramekin, which is a little weird. That's definitely a little disappointing, but at least now I know the panna cotta mixture in its liquid form isn't dense enough to suspend lime zest. And I can correct that next time. And there will be a next time, because the panna cotta actually turned out quite nice. Despite seeming a little firm, once you put it in your mouth, it dissolved almost immediately. It was extremely soft and extremely delicate. That was a complaint, if you want to call it that my wife had. She didn't enjoy that it didn't have the same texture as a traditional dairy-based panna cotta. But if you're Asian or used to coconut jelly desserts, the texture is actually quite familiar. In terms of taste, it could use a touch more sugar. Maybe 1.5 times as much. And maybe double the lime juice. The lime was there, but it was a little muted. And I definitely wouldn't add the zest to the mixture. That's best saved as a garnish instead. Otherwise, I'd consider this overall a success. Thank you for joining me as I take another small step towards overcoming my irrational fear of making desserts. I hope you enjoyed the video. Next week I'll be back in my comfort zone and making savory dishes. I'll see you then.